I'm just reversing a car on the drive, so give me a split second.
The reason I was giving you a call, Mr. Moss, is just because we received some feedback for you from a visit to our store, I think from yesterday.
Yeah.
And just wanted to follow up because, we do take any feedback really seriously and kind of want to see if there's anything further we could do to try and help improve your experience.
Okay.
So I haven't got any specific detail, but I was just wanting to know, what the main reason for your concerns were and anything we can help with.
Well, I can tell you this very succinctly. I may be the first person who's found it. I don't know. But I said to them, what's the bug fix? And nobody seemed to know about it. I can show you all the videos and the clips that are on my iPad. The way they got there was through this device. And it worked last week and it doesn't work now.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, Mr. Moss. I mean, I can totally see why you're frustrated with it. I'd be the same if that's kind of your primary function for it.
Yeah.
Software is something that you can't really avoid with iOS. It's lots of updates for security and some new features and things like that. But it's very odd that there's such a big change to it. As I say, I've never heard of it, and it'd be interesting to see why that is and whether or not it's a bug or whether it's actually a design feature.
Well, that's the thing that nobody seemed to know. I was like, is this a bug or is this by design? Because if it was by design, I would expect it to be in the changelog. Doing something like that, you would think is a fairly sizable issue, and that you would list that we're about to disable your existing only route of getting images into your iPad. You would expect that to be listed. It isn't. They checked it. They said, yeah, you're right. It's not listed. I have to admit, they after me kind of sticking to my guns on this and saying I'm just refusing to pay. The fact that they revisited it and eventually gave them me, I think is good. I'm just really speaking out that either somebody doesn't know that this bug exists, or if they do know, and it's kind of one of these unreasonable things where Apple's going to say, well, we're just going to, under whatever reason, and like you say, it might be security, it might be a whole host of things, you still should have the choice. So it should be in the changelog. So there's some things, however it turns out, there are some things on Apple's side that aren't right about this. It hasn't been done in the right way.
Yeah, and it's a perfectly valid complaint, this. I mean, as I say, I'm not a photographer myself, so it's not something I would have used, but I can totally see why that would be a big impact for you. Sometimes with any kind of iOS update, there are things that come and go all the time. There's actually 11.3, which is due very, very soon, which is quite a big overhaul to iOS. One of the main things it'll implement is the battery health check, and being able to see your battery status and remove the performance throttling, as it's called, from iOS 11, which you've probably seen about with the battery situation going on with Apple.
So there's a perfect example. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a perfect example. That was done and nobody was told about it. This feels like it's that same sort of mentality. If they have disabled it, the actual warning that comes up is this accessory is. I'm not sure it says no longer or just not supported. So it's a definite design decision in the software for that to pop up, I think. But nobody's been told about it, and it wasn't in the changelog, which is what was confirmed by the geniuses. I
can totally see that, and I think the battery thing was quite a big deal because of the volume of it, and maybe this is just a bug, maybe this is something that was put in by error and then will be updated. It's really difficult to say. I guess what I would probably suggest, as you can probably imagine, in store we don't get a huge amount of info about this kind of stuff in advance, and we're a bit limited in terms of the support we can offer, and I'm glad to hear that someone gave you that those adapters as a goodwill gesture, because that's probably what I would do as well. It's definitely a valid complaint, and I'll certainly partner with our team here to see if we can find out any more. I can't promise I'll get any information, but it's useful to know what's caused it, because I suppose it's not until you do it that you realise. So I'll certainly keep my eye on it, and if I hear any more kind of things about it, I'll definitely pick it up with my team. But it's an iOS issue. What more can be done, and escalate it through our customer escalations process, which they can happily help you with, because it might well then go up the chain to someone and they can actually give you an answer, or say, no, it's a bug, this is what we're doing to sort it. It does happen quite often that if we have a kind of escalated complaint that's not something we can deal with in a retail level, it does go to Apple directly. I don't know if it will go as high as someone like Tim Cook, but it could do. And Apple are really good at acknowledging those things. So, yeah, I can totally see why you're frustrated with it, and I do appreciate you giving us the feedback, because it puts it on my radar now as well. This is the way it feels to me as the consumer. Somebody somewhere made a decision, they changed something in the software, it's now no longer supported. This is what the genius said, it must now no longer be supported. Okay, so that decision now goes that I contact the main support from my iPad, they then route me to a store, and in the store, that's the perfect place to sell me some more stuff.
That's how it might come across if you're the consumer on the receiving end of this, and that seems somewhat unscrupulous by Apple, especially when you think this is basically the world's biggest company. You think, well, how did you get to be the world's biggest company? Is it these kind of actions, or is it just a bug? And that's, when you bring up the thing about the batteries, you know, not telling people about it, you get less and less, you know, trust in the companies, don't you?
I know it can certainly look like that, and the perception of it is it just to make money? And you know, I'm sure there's elements of what Apple do that are to drive money, but certainly I wouldn't want you to feel that they deliberately are halting it to try and make you upgrade. Apple are very clear that there's never a planned obsolescence process. There's no element for, you know, deliberately making a device last less time to make you upgrade. Some things do over the course of time stop working because of hardware limitations. You know, there are devices that eventually no longer support new versions of iOS and things like that, which is the nature of electronics. But you know, I can totally see why you would think that, and I think from me being outside of the organisation, I'd probably think exactly the same. And it's a difficult one for us because we try our best to give you as much as we can info at the start in the store, but obviously reliant on the information we get from Apple directly as well, which is not always, you know, all of the information, as I'm sure you can appreciate. I'm hoping it is a bug. That would be great if it is. And if it is a design feature, then at least there might be some reasoning as to why that is with the new update. It's definitely a valid point, Stuart, and I do really appreciate you mentioning it because I'll definitely want to look into it a bit more myself, just from my own point of view.
Okay.
But is there anything more I can do from you at a store level just to kind of help you? Or,
well,
or
the only thing I would say is the bit that maybe you want to revisit with your store stuff is that as it went more senior, the propensity to try and challenge me on what equipment I got, and you know, how old is that iPad? I thought in a minute she's going to be telling me I need to buy a new iPad. You know, I was like, you've simply taken the wrong tack here. This is stuff that worked. I'm a very capable user, and you're now gradually talking me up about. She said, well, things only last for a year. You're out of your warranty, and it was like, hang on. There's nothing wrong with it. You've changed the software. That's what's happened. That might be worth feeding back to some of your team that, you know, when they freestyle it from the script, they maybe need to get the facts straight. But
yeah, absolutely. So if you do get any more info or you want to come and have a chat about it, my name's Neil. I'm in the store most of the time. Feel free to pop in, and if we do get any updates, I'll let you know. Or it may pop on apple.com. Who knows?
All right. Thanks, Neil.
All right, Stuart. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.